Uju ani tanse kwe wache sego. Nim kibanoje kapisi samat napisis indigenakaz main gandodem kajanong ndonjaba. Hello, my English name is Theland Kicknosway. I'm Cree and Potawatami from Walpole Island First Nation, Kajanong Territory. I'm part of the Wolf Clan. I'm 18 years old. I was born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario, which is unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin territory. And I'm also a hoop dancer, a traditional singer, flute player, a motivational speaker, and an activist. Good medicine is a broad term to me. Good medicine can be so many different things. It can be friends by your side, your family in your circle. It can be different things that help nourish your own soul and your own being as well. Which could be good food, it could be the medicines that are actually physically with us. Good medicines can also be different things that feed your soul. So whether that's dancing or singing or whatever your hobbies are, that's also good medicine. So it's really a term to me that's not singular. It's not something that is just described as one thing. It's a whole different array of different things that help your being and help your soul. So that term, MMIWG2S+, missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit individuals, that was a term that I learned at a fairly young age. I think I was about 8 or 9. I remember hearing it and I didn't know what to do. I felt powerless. I almost felt like I couldn't do anything, like I couldn't say anything. And as a kid, that's a very, it's not a good feeling. It just doesn't sit right. And so I remember asking my mom multiple different questions about what this was. And actually, I was about 9 years old and we were picking up garbage on Earth Day. I asked my mother on the side of the road, I said, where did the children of the missing and murdered Indigenous women go? She didn't have an answer for me. So we go home the next day and we go to this lovely woman. Her name's Bridget Tolley. She's the one of the founders of FSIS, which is Families of Sisters in Spirit. And they're a not-for-profit organization that helps the families. And so I asked her this question. I asked my Auntie Bridget, as I know her now. And she said, no matter how hard it gets, no matter the struggles we have to go through, we just have to keep on moving forward. No matter what obstacle we face, we have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And hearing that, it really kind of set something within myself, putting one foot in front of the other. And so I took that very literally. I remember coming home the next day and I said to my mom, I want to run across Canada. And she said, okay, Canada's a little bit big though, so I don't know if we can do that just yet. So I put that dream put that idea at the back of my head. And so she says, okay, think of something else. And I said, okay, well, what if we bike across Ontario? She's like, well, Ontario is like the biggest province, so maybe think of something a little more smaller because my legs are shorter. So I took that idea, put it at the back of my head. So I remember calling up my Auntie Bridget the next day and I said, can I run to your house? And she goes, that would be a great idea. I was like, okay, great. We can get a team together and we can raise awareness and try to raise money for these different families. And last year we just finished our 7th annual journey for raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit peoples. And last year I took that idea from the back of my head. I biked across Ontario. I biked from Winnipeg to Ottawa, and we finished our 7th annual journey. When I think back to my upbringing and how it came to be that we just finished 7 years of a journey that you put so much work into, it really, you think back on it and you realize that this all started with an idea of a 9-year-old child. And so to me, we always have to listen to our children because they have a lot of great questions. When you hear them talk, let them talk because they are our storytellers. They are our knowledge carriers. And not only are they now, but they will be in the future. one day maybe their ideas and their dreams actually turn into their goals, and then those goals can become achievable. They'll keep it at the back of their head, and when it comes time, they'll bring it out, and they'll shine, and they'll be able to bring it to the world. I definitely want to bike across Canada at one stage in my life to raise awareness. I think the more people that hear about this, the more that hopefully this violence stops and it ends. Because once that happens, then we won't have to run anymore. We won't have to bike anymore. We won't have to raise our voice. And that's always been the goal. That's always been the goal. I said I was always going to run until the day that I either can't and it's going to be passed on to someone else, or the violence stops. And when that ends, then we don't have to raise awareness anymore. One thing that I would say to different allies that want to be a part of the movement of reconciliation, listening to the very important speakers of the different truths that have happened, basically just hearing what has happened and kind of to evaluate that. And that can be a hard thing to do, and to listen to that. But that's our history, and that's kind of what has happened. When we understand the truth and when we hear about things that are happening, we are now basically a vehicle of information. And for allies to do that, to make more awareness about Indigenous peoples and the actual reality and truths is very important, because that's how we're all able to understand. That's how we're going to be able to, as a collective, as a community, be able to move forward with this idea of reconciliation. Calling men and boys into this healing space of understanding the violence that's happening around us and in our communities is super important, because a lot of it starts with us. And me being able to stand here today and wear this pin shows you that, you know, I'm on that path, and I'm trying my best to go along on that path within my own vehicle and my own vessel of, you know, being a kind man. And there's a word, Kije Anishinaabe, which is I am a kind man. And understanding that we are all born kind, we are all born respectful, we're all born with these different qualities and these different traits. And so, to me, I've learned different things within my own culture that have reminded me of that kindness that has always been within my family, within our communities, but also within our blood. There's a lot of things that we're gonna have to learn along the way, and a lot of that is listening to our women, because they are our knowledge carriers, our storytellers. They are the life givers. They're the ones that teach us so much. What it is that makes us a kind man, a kind boy, a kind human. And ultimately, I think that's what it is. It's leading up to just being someone who is respectful, who is kind, but also someone that is able to acknowledge their mistakes when they happen. Someone that learns from the different lessons that appear in their life and that become evident, because that's how we're going to be able to kind of continue forward. Just like anyone, I have my moments where I'm distraught, where I'm angry, where I'm frustrated, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, to kind of help that. A lot of that for me is back to our cultural ways. So for me, if I have the access to our medicines, I always try my best to stay in this moment and light some of our medicines. And those smells I've been smelling ever since I was a little kid. If the medicines aren't available to myself and I'm still feeling this way, it's kind of a feeling that you have to, it's hard to get out of sometimes. And so for me, you have to sometimes let it pass through, whatever it is, but you have to figure it out at a different time maybe. Whenever I'm feeling, angry or frustrated, usually I allow that to not enter my spirit. I know I'm feeling this up here in my mind, but there's a way that I have to clear it. And one way that I'm able to do that is through the medicines, but also through the good medicine, like I said earlier, of communication, of friendship. They're there to listen and understand, kind of what I'm going through. And sometimes, they might be feeling the same way, and kind of just having like that circle for us to kind of be present with each other is super important. I think having a good circle around you can bring you that good medicine that you need. Whenever it gets to that and whenever it passes, you're able to continue on and continue laughing and, smiling and bringing back that good medicine to yourself. When I'm dancing is probably when I'm most happiest. And I say that very truthfully. Nowadays, it's something that I really appreciate every time I'm able to, step into my regalia and get into that place of my past. Carrying on the traditions of my ancestors is super important for me. For myself, I've been a dancer ever since I could walk. Even before then, the first kicks in our life giver's womb, that's actually our first dance moves. So when people ask me how long I've been dancing, I actually say I've been dancing since before I was in the physical world, and I've just continued that. The style of dance that I do, it's a kind of go with the flow dance. The fringe that I have on my regalia is actually to move with the grass and to imitate the grass. It's kind of, you wanna just continue to flow. And I think that's a really important teaching, because like life, everything has to flow, and trying to bring fluidity to our life is super important. So just moving like that river and being able to dance like the grass is super important, because it all comes back down to our natural elements around us. For me, when I'm dancing, I don't know if I'm thinking, I don't know what it is. It's not an emotion, it's just it's a place. And so for me, I'm really trying to move as best as I can with the flow of the grass, which is swaying side to side, and a lot of that is teaching us balance. So when I'm dancing this style, it's teaching me about balance. So you'll notice when I'm dancing, whatever I do on one side, I actually do on the other side as well. So if I kick with my right foot, I'm gonna kick with my left foot. And that goes back to that balance and that fluidity of dance, and trying to go with the feel and the flow of it is really what grass dancing is. This is a style that I've been learning for over 10 years now, and I'm still practicing and still going along as best as I can. And it's a beautiful style. And the hoop dance. So the hoop dance is a storytelling dance, and to my knowledge, it comes from the Hopi people down in Arizona. They're trying to portray a story of the different elements, like creatures, beings, animals, plants, things that are all around us within the movement of these hoops. So hoop dancers will weave together these hoops to create different shapes and designs to bring along whatever may happen within our journey. So for me, I might be envisioning an eagle, but to the audience, maybe they'll see something else. Maybe one person sees a seagull, one person sees a hawk, another person sees an owl or a butterfly. And I think that's the uniqueness and the beautiful aspect of this dance, is because it shows us that we are all different. We're all unique, but we all have the same qualities. We all have two eyes to see out of. We all have our own brain to imagine what these moves that I'm creating are. So, it really brings life to the world. So I think the beautiful people that have watched this, if you wanted to support myself, my journey, in any way, you can always check out my social medias. I have Instagram, I have TikTok where I make different videos. There's many different ways that we can stay connected, work on this conversation. Definitely check it out, and that'd be much appreciated.